DBS community, welcome back to another video with Kyle Chris, and today we're finally going in to the deck breakdowns for set, was it set 18? Set 19? It's been a while since I've actually made a video, so feeling a lot better, but since we're getting close to the release, I figured I actually had to go back through and redo a few of these videos because the ban list did change, primarily red, as well as the secret versions, things like that. Just kind of switched a few things up, but I did spend quite a bit of time making these videos. Hopefully you guys do enjoy them. If you do, obviously hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all that good stuff there. And first we're going to be going into the first reveal I believe that they did, which was the Goku, Trunks, and Vegeta, or the Saiyan trio deck. Not to get confused with the Saiyan GT trio deck that they put out a few sets ago. But I think this leader is very interesting, as we'll kind of find out as we talk about it a little bit here. So when this card attacks, you draw one, and then awake when your life is at 4 or less, or you have 2 more energy, and a Goku, Vegeta, or Trunks card all red with a X Evolve in play. You may draw one, restand one, and strike down to 6. So it just says you need one of the 3. So you don't need to have all 3 of them. You just need one of the evolved targets of Goku, Vegeta, or Trunks in order to awaken on 2 energy, which is pretty good. That means you can awaken up probably realistically turn 2 every game. Unless for whatever reason your opponent's playing something to kind of stop your strategy. Now we go into the Awaken side, which all 3 of them are just Super Saiyan, which the art for this is really, really cool. Auto, discard 1 red Saiyan card from your hand. When this card attacks, draw 2. So that part's kind of a little irritating because you have to discard a red Saiyan. It doesn't say mono red, which is nice, so it does give implications for multicolor in the future. But having to pitch a Saiyan before you attack could have been better. It should have been a draw 2, discard 1 Saiyan. Probably would make a little more sense. But there are some cards that makes it kind of okay to discard. Activate main once per turn. If you have 3 more mono red energy, you play up to 1 Goku, Vegeta, or Trunks, all red with an energy cost of 1 from your drop with the skills negated for the turn in rest mode. And at the end of the turn, place that card in your drop. So the idea is that you're able to play out your 1-drops for free, and then you can evolve into them. Kind of like a weird version of Vegeta Trunks, in a sense. It may not be as good as Vegeta Trunks, but it is red, so that's obviously a good thing. And you're able to do it for free with not losing any card advantage from hand. So that is pretty cool. And then we do have a Z Awaken later, which is pretty interesting. So we have Super Saiyan Son Goku United Onslaught. It's a 15k double strike when your life is at 3 or less, and you place up to 3 Z energy under your leader, and the leader has to be the red Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks. So that way this Z leader cannot be used in any other deck. When this card attacks, for each non-leader card under this card gets 10k power for the battle. Auto place all non-leader cards from under this card in your owner's dropper at the end of your turn. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards. You get minus 10k for the turn for each card placed in the dropper by the skill, and then you remove this card from the game. So, first thoughts, obviously very powerful card. If the attack goes through, you're swinging for, potentially, if you do up to 3, so if you do 3, you're swinging for 45k double strike with no battle cards being used, no combo cards being used from hand, which is incredibly powerful. And then after the turn, you have up to a 30k board wipe that you can put on your opponent to kind of clear out any battle cards that they did play. Or if they're higher than 30k, it just does neg them for that amount for the turn. So if you have like 35ks on board, it negs at all of that stuff, so then there'll be 5ks for the next turn. The card is very, very good. And the fact that it's only 1 Z energy. Now the other thing is that you are putting Z energy underneath it, so technically you can, this is like a max of like a 1 energy cost 4 Z energy requirement, which is kind of a high price to pay, but as you guys will see with this deck, it's pretty easy to fill up the Z energy. So now we're going to go into the deck portion of the video and show you guys what I came up with. Alright, so we have the main deck here. I believe this is a 53 card main deck. We'll just kind of go through each one of these cards and just kind of, go over what each one of these do for the archetype. So we have the 1-drop at the ready, Trunks, Goku, and Vegeta. All very similar. Trunks is a draw 1. Goku is a top 5 searcher for a red Saiyan energy cost 4 or less. And then Vegeta is a, you add 1 Goku, Vegeta, or Trunks with energy cost of 3 and evolve, X evolve from your drop to your hand. So all 3 of these have their own purposes. Obviously, when you play them off your leader, you do not get the auto effect. However, being able to play these cards out will allow you then to cycle, search, or replenish particular cards. And that's pretty good, like a pretty interesting engine, right? Like you have all these 1-drops that will all probably add a card back to your hand, and then they all do very specific things, right? Now they all have an activate main, and it's the same exact thing. You have to have, so the weird part is that you have to have the opposite 2 of whatever the other card is. So for Trunks, you need to have a Goku and a Vegeta with the evolve in play, and then you can play this guy from your drop area in rest mode from your hand. I believe Goku has the same effect. You can play Goku from your hand, and then Vegeta should have the same exact effect. Yep. So you actually can play all these out for free if you have the other 2 evolved targets in play. So why this is good is that you can actually just free play it, so that way you don't have to use the energy, and then you can use the energy for the X evolve portion of it, which is the evolved offensive. So we'll go over the Goku here first. This is a 19k. Evolve for 1. When this card is played by evolve, you draw 1 and switch it to active mode. This card attacks. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards and negative by 15. And then activate main if you have a Future Trunks and Vegeta that are 3 with X evolve, you can play this card from your hand. So again, you have another effect where you can play this card from your hand for 1. You do not get the evolve effects. You do not get the draw 1, switch to active mode. But it is a 19k you can play out for 1. So still a pretty good card. With Vegeta, same thing. When this card's played by evolve, you draw 1 and restand. This card attacks. Place this card in the order's drop area at the end of the turn. This card is placed in the drop area by this skill. Add to 1 Goku or Trunks that costs 3 with X evolve from your drop to your hand. So this card actually allows you to replenish your 3 drops, which is good because then Vegeta can cycle back the other cards that you need. And then again, you can play this card from your hand for 1. And then we have Trunks, which is a 19k blocker. Same auto for the evolve. At the end of the turn, switch the card to active mode, and then again, this one can be played for 1 energy. So again, you have kind of a watered down version of what, essentially what the Trunks Vegeta deck is, right? Because that deck has a barrier blocker that taps something, and then a 20k that kills something ignoring barrier. These don't really do that, right? This is a pretty good value engine. You know, you are drawing quite a bit of cards. And being able to cycle these and play them out for 1 with not needing the 1-drop, but then also being able to play out the 1-drops for free is I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a pretty interesting little factor there. The other 4-drop here, we have triple combination. So this is a 20k. Activate main, choose 1 Saiyan in your battle area, play this card over the chosen card. And then place 1 card from on this card in the drop area when this card is played. When this card attacks. Choose a 20 of your opponent's battle cards, and he gets minus 30k for the turn. So why this is cool is that this is just another pressure piece. So being able to play out a, so essentially you can play out a 1-drop here for free. You can evolve into one of these guys, and then you tap 1 to then play. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so you can actually, I was gonna do that, right? So you play one of these for free. You do the draw effect, right? Then you can play one of these for 1 if you want, swing with it, and then you can tap this, and then you can put that card underneath this, and then get another 20k swing, and then this card will then cycle that card to the drop area, right? And then you can use Vegeta or whatever to grab it back. This is probably better off of the 1-drop, so you can actually play the 1-drops off your leader effect for free, and then either evolve up the chain or go into one of your 20ks here. But that's a lot of swings that you can do, and I think it's one of the interesting things at this. It's like a weird version of Bardock's Crew, because Bardock's Crew allows you to really push damage, right? Like you have a lot of these 1-drops, but they all need bond. So with this, you really don't need the bond effect, but you're still able to swing with 19ks, which is, you know, pretty powerful. Then you have the boss monster, which is a 30k triple strike barrier. Play it for 3. You choose 5 Gohan Youth, Vegeta, Trunks Future, Piccolo, and or Krillin cards, all red in your drop area. Play this card from your hand and place the chosen cards under this card. Then activate battle, place 5 cards from this card under the drop area. This card gets 10k for the turn. Choose all your opponent's battle cards and they get minus 20. Then at the end of the turn, place this card in the drop and then play up to 1 Goku, then just cost 1 from your drop area. It's interesting. It doesn't have deflect, has barrier though, which is cool. But it's kind of like a win more card, it feels like. It's kind of why we have it at 2. It is very powerful. And it can be as a game finisher, but I think you have so much value in the deck, you don't necessarily need this card as a win condition. But it is a Goku target. Like I said, it does allow you to just push through some damage. So, triple strike for 3 energy isn't bad. It would be nice if it removed stuff ignoring barrier, but it is what it is. Obviously, Secret Rare here is gonna be SS4 Vegito. You can actually play these cards in tandem, which is why this is probably really good, is that you can play this guy, look at their hand, and then rip whatever negate they have out of it, and you also can play Goku there, and now you have a 40k triple strike and then a 40k quad strike for 3 energy. It's pretty powerful, not to mention going into your Z leader and doing all that stuff. So definitely probably the better Secret Rare for the deck. 3 testing the ops, it's pretty normal. We have the Legends Personified, so this card's cool. It's a 1-drop that draws you a card. If you have Bond 3, and your opponent has more than 3 energy, you can make this card a 25k. Why this is cool, you used to be able to do Heartfelt Play, obviously since it got banned, we had to remove it from the deck, but with this card you actually can evolve into the 1-drop here. You also can go into this guy as well. So you have a few different ways of being able to get massive amount of value out of this card. So you can swing for 25k. Play this card, go for 19k, and then play with this card and go for 20. So you're swinging 25, 19, and 20. It's quite a bit of swings, right? And it also just counts as a red Goku, so we can use it, just in tandem with this card as well. 4 Raditz, I felt like it's still probably the better super combo. There is the Android super combo from this set that involves the energy, but I think being able to just cycle this, and also because it's a Saiyan, you can search it off of your Goku. Still the better target for the deck. So Sun Go 10 Hyperspeed Rush. So being a 1-drop that draws you a card that's also double strike, pretty powerful. And then making this card also a 20k for an extra energy. It's just an extra option that you can do. But like I said, again, just a 1-drop that draws you a card. It's kind of the theme of this entire deck. It's just 1-drop value. So obviously this is gonna be a card you're gonna add. So with the Gogeta change, but with the Broly change where you can't play Crown now off of Gogeta becomes slightly worse. I mean, you can still use Gogeta in this deck, don't get me wrong, because you can play off any of these 1-drops, including Legends Personified, so you have 4 different targets you can play. But I feel like more people should start migrating either off Unisons completely or towards the 3-drop Unisons, because they are very effective. I guess the one issue would be that you don't have Violent Rays to back you up. And you want to awaken on 2, you may want to hold it till 3, and it also just depends on the meta, and there's a lot of other factors with that, right? But combination of being able to play Videl now, since Yamcha has been limited to 1, just giving you some very good defense that you can do for, essentially no cost at all. Sin I like because it has the ability to rip a card from your opponent's hand, but also being able to neg 2 things 25k. Since Yamcha is gone, we don't have as much spot removal for red decks. So how Yamcha would just come down and just neg 2 things by 50k, or by 15k, not 50k. But now we have Videl, so we can do that with 2 20ks. This also gets around deflect, and then we have Sin, which we can push through and neg 2 things by 15k. This also allows all of your battle cards, all of your red cards, to attack your opponent's battle cards in active mode. And there was a lot of barrier, so being able to just punch through barrier sometimes, it's kind of a good idea. It just makes it so that your opponent really can't, they have to defend everything. No card is safe, essentially, with Sin on board. The other defense we have now is imposing presence in the main instead of using Violent Rays, because Violent Rays is just not as good anymore. And then we added the new Gohan rare, facing the Android Terror. So this card's cool. We play it for 1. If your leader's red and you're at 4 life or less, so you can get that pretty easily with this deck. When this card's played, you choose a total up to 7 of your opponent's battle cards and or unisons, and they get minus 10k for the turn. Additionally, if you choose 5 more cards with this skill, this card gets 10k in double strike for the turn, so making this a 25k double strike for 1 energy. Again, kind of matching the theme of the deck, right? A bunch of 1 drops or 2 drops that just swing a lot or have, you know, double strike or anything else like that. You also can Z charge this. When you charge it from, you charge it to your Z energy, choose one of your opponent's battle cards or unisons, and it gets minus 15k for the turn. This is also good. This is just another good defensive card, especially if your opponent has a unison on board. You can use this to neg their unison, which then will reset any skills that they had for the previous, especially if it had like dual attack or something. Very, very powerful card. Definitely something to utilize in red decks. That's the main board. Again, as you know, for these, we don't do a sideboard. We just do a Z deck. So we have the 1 SS4 Son Goku, Defender of Life. It's really good. You can burn your opponent from 4 to 3. It has deflect and barrier. So not too bad of a card there. We have the Z Leader, of course. We have 1. Could probably tally this up and use it for 2. 1 definitely is, you know, is going to be needed. 3 rush attack. You can end up taking this down to 2 and then add another Z Leader if you so choose. Probably the better idea, but you know, just kind of fits your play style. And we have 2 of the new Gohan. So Gohan is a blocker. You give all of your evolved targets blocker. Kind of weird. It should have said barrier. Then this deck would have been really, really good. Blocker just seems kind of odd. At the end of the turn, choose up to one of your red Saiyan cards that would evolve and switch it to active mode, which means you can switch up to any of these 3 to active mode. Obviously, you're not going to want to switch Trunks because he switches himself to active mode, so you're switching one of these guys to active mode. And then activate main if your leader is this leader during your opponent's next turn. When one of your red Saiyan cards with energy cost of 3 and evolve is placed in your drop, add it to your Z energy from the drop area. So this goes for any of the 3, but one of the nice things you can do is that with the Vegeta, since the Vegeta kind of puts itself in the drop area, you can have these on board and activate main on this. So then when the Vegeta goes to the drop, you'll get the Vegeta effect, which will then you'll add a 3-drop to your hand, and then this card will then go to your Z energy for you to charge to get all of your Z energy going. So I think the deck is pretty straightforward. The downside to the deck is that the archetype is so big. There's so many cards you have to put in this archetype, all the 1-drops and everything else like that. It definitely makes the deck, you know, you have to sort of play this style, and then your tech cards are kind of, you know, you have a few slots for deck, you know, for the tech cards. People may end up playing the 2-drop unison in this. People may not even play a unison in this deck at all. I think depending on the format, I think right now, as of right now, making this video, it's probably better to play the unison, unless you're going to go for a complete aggro style, and then you just take these out for 1-drop self-awakeners, you know, potentially. But this is what I have for you guys today. Hope you guys do enjoy the video. If you guys do, please make sure to smash that like button. And as always, thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.